Greetings, traders. Good morning and welcome to the Day Traders Action for Tuesday. Well, we got pretty much what I forecasted and wrote in the briefing today. Under the market notes, we got the Wall Street control grid. This is the Federal Reserve, this communist organization called the Federal Reserve, along with who we call Fraud Rock. It's really BlackRock. And this is the control grid, and they are desperately trying to get this market up to support their new communist candidates. So, and I mentioned this yesterday too extensively, and I wrote it in the briefing today. So they're really pushing this thing, and they're going to make trading a little more difficult for us today because it's a one-sided push to the upside here, as you can see on the Dow so far. And there's going to be two other reports coming out, I think tomorrow, maybe just the one, maybe there's two, I'm not sure. So we got to be a little bit more cautious today. I was looking to be a little more aggressive, but we got to be a little more cautious because this control grid, they're going to just keep pushing it and pushing it. Now they're talking about the big recovery. They're trying to talk this up as a recovery. Well, the facts don't state that so far. We've had at the beginning of this month, the 1st through the 7th, we had a 2,680 drop of Dow points. I use the Dow to measure the upness or downness of the market. 2,680 approximately. We had a recovery the next day of 683, the next day of 51 points. That's like 730 points, and then yesterday they dropped 140. So the big recovery that they claim that is happening is only regained about 600 points from the 2,680 point losses from the slam this month. Now that's fine, and they're going to doctor the inflation report, say inflation's not as bad. And how did I know that? I wrote that in the briefing last night. It's right there on today's briefing. And they're going to doctor the one tomorrow, and they're just going to try to play this game of inflation not as bad as reported. Well, it's still inflation, though. And them showing a doctored report, and I know they're doctored, they have a long history of doing that, and trying to talk up the market does not equal reality. So that's fine. We don't care. We're going to trade no matter what. I'm just letting you know the facts, because it's going to make trading more difficult. Because you see how they're going to just keep trying to force it up, let it come back a little bit, and just keep trying to force it higher and higher. So we'll see what happens. My forecast ultimately is they have to go back and explore the lows. And I did an extensive seminar within the webinar yesterday about that. After we had made a nice what did we have, a $2,200 gain yesterday? Yeah, $2,280 based on the four contracts. $2,280 the previous day, a small gain of $400 the previous day, $3,220 on Wednesday, August the 7th, and the previous day to that, a $1,280 gain. And the day before that, on the 5th, I go over these every day, go back 4 or 5 sessions, 2,920 on 8/5. So just, it's a really big month for us, and we're always grateful for that. We had a whopper day on August 1st. I had 5 winning trades in a row, 60 points, $4,700 on 1175 per contract, and we always multiply that by 4 because our room is based on getting you to build up to 4 contracts. So a whopper $4,700 day in that day. Anyway, it's just routine. It's not like these are big deals, 1 week wonder or 1 month wonder, nothing like that. We just try to keep the routine controlled, keep the stops controlled as much as possible. Now, if you're new to the room, like Michael, and thank you, Michael, for joining, and others from yesterday, thanks for joining, and make sure and read every word of the briefing. It's written there in stone. It won't change. The only thing that'll change in the briefing every day is the new link to the room. So discard the previous briefing from yesterday and kind of get in the habit of eliminating that and just getting the new fresh one every day. That'll give you the new link to the room. So good to see you, and we're getting started here, but like I said, they're just desperately trying to force it up. Now the Dow is losing ground, so they may come in, they deploy the NASDAQ to rig the Dow up, so they usually will jack the NASDAQ up, create some big bazooka show, what we call a bazooka show, where they just are pumping money in. I believe the riggers go in and pump money into the NASDAQ Composite Index, into the they look for the top 50 momentum stocks, and they just start jamming millions into those, and that lifts the Dow up almost, or the NASDAQ on what we see, almost like trades like a futures contract when they do that. But I call these little jolts bazooka shows, where they just come in and kablamo, all of a sudden they're up 20, 30 points. They start faltering a little bit here, kablamo, up they go. So we're wise to their tricks, but it doesn't make futures trading easier. It actually makes it harder because they block the flow of the market, flow of the regular reality of the prices. So right now we're just in standby mode, waiting for some action. I'll call out some trades. We're going to have to test this thing out. We're going to have to miss a few things because of their activities right now in trying to rig up this market. And again, now they're losing ground in the Dow, so I think the NASDAQ may temporarily follow that, but most likely they'll hang the NASDAQ up and try to jolt it with some more bazooka shows by, again, going into the cash market here, the composite index, not jolting the futures there. Maybe they got some way to do that. I mean, they basically make the rules. They're not under any regulation, although they pretend to be. But then we will see them going, I think they go and pick out the 50 momentum stock, top momentum stocks, which anybody can buy a program that shows what those are. The difference for them is they push a few buttons and each stock gets jolted with $2, $3, $4, $5 million in orders, and that jolts the overall index. That's just what I believe. I can't prove it, but I've been watching them do this for decades, and especially in the last 4 or 5 years, it's gotten ridiculous. Anyway, just a little explanation on that, why we're not trading right now, because of their activities, which are criminal. They're not legal. They're contracting the market rather than facing that they're up 200 Dow, which we saw just 15 minutes ago, is fizzling out. And again, I think this overall thing's going to have to go down and test the bottoms, which I went over yesterday. I'll show you the lines again. I gave you the numbers and everything. All right, well, just a little opening briefing here. Before we get started, let's read the risk disclosure statement and realize that futures trading is risky and only risk capital should be used for trading. Risk capital is defined right here as money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital, in other words, a lot of money in the bank. That's the way I define sufficient risk capital. It means a lot of money in the bank to trade futures, plus you have plenty in reserve to keep yourself happy, healthy, and in the groove. Only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading in the day trader's action room. Well, great to see you. And I'm just wanting to give that explanation before we get started here. It's just about 8 minutes after the hour, but these idiots are blocking the market from trading. And that's the problem. That's why I call them idiots, and that's why I call them criminals, because we're day traders. We want to day trade. They've jacked this thing to the moon, and why is it not trading? See, it's just stagnant. It's because they have an agenda to keep it up, and they don't want it to make a big sell-off. I think it's definitely overdue for a stronger crunch down through this is we put this in every day. This is the opening range. This is the top of the opening range here. This is the bottom, and this is the center. When the market is above the opening range, it's going to tend to pull in buyers from the institutional clients and stuff. And of course, the riggers are always desperately trying to get price above the opening range, because that will make them have to spend less money to force the market up or rig it up. Below, if they come back in from above the top into the opening range, below the opening range top, they'll tend to work their way to the center, which is this red dashed dotted line, and make a decision there. Usually it's to try to head down halfway or maybe all the way down to the bottom. So the fraud rock is what I call BlackRock. You've heard of them. They've been doing the Federal Reserve's Treasury bill orders and all that stuff for decades. I think they have a whole rigging operation. Now this thing's probably going to drop here. I'll give you a test signal, but I don't want to take it now because I think they're gonna try to hang it up, maybe herky jerk it back up. So 90, 91 up here, 94 right there should be a short. Let's see if 94 can come down to 80. It should easily come down to 80, but let's see. You know, these criminals are not letting the market trade. So let's see if 94, which is where I normally would have shorted, can come down to 80. But odds are they're going to try to herky jerk it back up over the 900 handle and try to blast it up over 915 and try to push it into a buy mode again. Now, that's fine. I don't care. I've already identified what their criminal stunts are up to today. But I hate to miss the downside move, and it may occur. It should actually even make a flash crash under 94 down to at least 80, down to 77 even, the center of the opening range here. And I hate to miss the trade. I really do, but I can't risk getting ripped off by this market control grid. So, okay, we see them coming down to 80 now. Just as I mentioned, they came down to 80, 81, 80 half, I think. Let me open this up a little here. And that's good. Hallelujah. The market's trading a little bit fairly. But notice how they get him down right to where I said at 80, and then now it's getting hyperjacked back up to 94 where we got in at 94, 96. And they're like little angry bees, hornet's nests that some kid drove by on a bike and threw a water balloon at the hornet's nest, and all the bees are really loud and they're scattering around and looking for somebody to sting for throwing a water balloon at their bee's nest. So this is what they're doing now. So now they're going to hyperjack it up. My guess is up over 908, and then attempt to pretend that it's still mega bullish and try to maybe above 908. If they get them up there, they're going to try to stage a big rally. Now some might think, oh, well, let's go long then. No. That may be your idea. And it's not an incorrect idea, but this is not a market to trade right now. It's a contracted market where the bias is being forced higher. Okay, they just broke that 909 or 12, whatever I said. And now they're going to try to stage a big rally. And they're doing it with what I described at the early part of the briefing with a bazooka candle show. You'll see these big elongated candles, and they'll run usually 3 or 4 of them, or sometimes some smaller ones, but usually 3 or 4 big ones, and they'll jolt the market higher, try to get the Dow back up. It's a common trick of these people. And nowadays they're so blatant, they don't even seem to care that anybody even notices, because they are the regulators. They don't come under any regulating control. And I know a lot of people would be just shocked to say, what do you mean? Federal Reserve and BlackRock don't come into regulating? No, they are the regulators. They're the control grid. So the regulators, they tell the regulators what to do. There's no doubt about it. Otherwise, the regulators would never allow these bazooka shows like the one we just had. Otherwise, how did I know they were going to do that? You know, the regulators, who's behind those orders? Who did that? Why did they do that? Anyway, they still need a trip down under 80 towards 77. Somewhere down that way. So let's see what we got here. Again, my rule on this, because all the short-term bias lines are all scrunched together, is just stand aside. It's a waste of time trying to take a trade, long or short. And we can see the long trade. I was a little bit wrong in that. Well, they did, I said 12 if they break out. They did get them up to 21, which crushed them right back. And excuse me a second here. Good to see you all, and thank you for your good morning wishes, and same to all of you. It's going to be a weird day, and then tomorrow they got another one of these reports that they're going to put out in doctors so that inflation doesn't look as bad, and they're going to run with that. They're going to do everything they can to jolt this market up. The problem is it really, I think, needs to go back and visit the lows of the crunch on this month. I'll show you that in a minute. Let me quickly bring up the briefing just because some of you, I want to make sure you're familiar with it. Here it is. So let me just, I'm not going to go over the whole briefing like I did yesterday for new members, but new members, read every word of this and really understand how we set up the protocol for the room to keep you safe. If you follow my exact rules, then I can keep you safe. If you try to do your own thing or screw around in the room and make up your own trades around mine, you're going to lose in most cases. And the worst thing that could happen is if you could make a couple of winning trades against what I'm doing. I'm just trying, I can't protect you if you don't follow my instructions and rules. That's it. I don't care about controlling anybody or anything, but this is my room and I know how to protect you. Even if we have a drawdown, we're going to keep trading, and that's written in the briefing here. If we get a drawdown, I get stopped out 2 or 3 times, rower down 36, 40 points. Keep trading. I'll get them all back and more, but we're going to have to trade longer that day. I don't even know if we're going to trade today because look at how they're acting. And I told you, this is all the control grid. They know the market needs to lose 200, 300, 400 points. But they're just playing games because they got their new communist candidates and they're trying to support them by creating a fake recovery. And you see it on the news, everybody's pushing that theme. They all say the same things because the control grid controls all the fake news media, the financial media, especially Fox and CNBC, the lead players there, that goofy Jim, what's his name? And then over on Fox, you have the very nice guy, Stuart Varney, but they are, part of the communist control grid of the markets. So we mentioned here where our concentration the first 2 hours. Today we may have to close the room without any trades today. I'd rather see them move lower and act real. Like here, this is very tempting to go short. I'm just going to run it as a test because of the problems. It'd be right here, 84, looking for 84 to come down to 70, but I'm just running it as a test. Don't take the trade because the odds are they're going to herky-jerk it back up to this area again. I'd prefer it goes down to 70 from 84. That would have been a nice trade. Well, there it goes. Okay. So whatever, they did go indeed down from the 84 to 70 quarter here. You can see that we would have scalped out of that for 12, 13 points. Let's see where they go from here. But what I wanted to show you is what I wrote today. Now, I wrote this last night at 7, 8 o'clock my time. Each day I recap whatever the call was for the market, or I just write whatever's interesting in the markets. The attempts of Wall Street to pretend there's a rebound going on is embarrassing. I wrote that yesterday, Sunday night, for Monday. Market control grid, what we affectionately call the riggers, will probably keep trying to artificially jam the NASDAQ up to drag the Dow Jones Industrial Average back up. So far, this action we have been seeing suggests retesting of the recent lows, which I'll show you that in a minute. And notice right off that 70 number I gave you, sure, there was a trade there, but a very high risk trade. And now, at some point, they're going to come in here with a big bazooka show and try to herky-jerk the market back up to 922, at least 912, and then see if they can progress it from there. Last time they got it up there, fizzled out. And here's what I wrote last night. Our members got to see my forecast come true exactly on Monday as the market and the NASDAQ sold off strong early with the Dow Jones Industrials down minus 215 at the peak low. Then, see, we just gaze at the Dow upness or downness. That's how I measure if I give a bias reading, market should be bearish for tomorrow or bearish in the next hour. We just look at the Dow. We don't compare it with the NAS, but with just the Dow. Generally, they'll correlate, but a lot of times they're completely whacked out. So it was down 215. Then I stated, right when it was down really low, I said, now they're going to, I said live in the room, I said they're going to jack up the NASDAQ now to lift the Dow Jones Industrial Average up. That's exactly what happened, and later identified a weak attempt to push above the top of the opening range. In other words, they did. They jacked the thing up to the moon. In fact, I got time here because this thing is going nowhere. I can show you the whole exact scene where they did this. This was yesterday about, I think, 8 o'clock or so. I can actually show you live on this room chart here. This is my Boomerang day trader, and I just use part of it, but I like the shaded channels and the colored candles. Helps you get a perspective on the calls as well. Makes it easier. So here we go. This is I think this is the opening. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Here's the opening area. Right after the opening, they're slamming the market down. And right in here I came in the room early. We did the risk disclosure, talked about that, and I said, now here, they're going to stall the market, and they're going to try to herky-jerk it up as hard as they can to get the market back up. And so that's what I stated here. They're going to try to lift the Dow up. So then I state here, as I identified a weak attempt to push above the top of the opening range, which has changed. It changes each morning. But you can see, look at this. They launched this whole bazooka show for no reason. There was nothing bullish. They claimed that the inflation report showed less inflation than should be. That's not bullish. First of all, it's doctored, and I'll tell you more about that later. And second, there's a website you can go to and see the real reports. 90% of them are doctored because they have a narrative, a political narrative usually. Anyway, they herky-jerked it up. Now this thick red line is really, really key right now. So they herky-jerked it up there. The opening range top was just above this, I believe. And they kind of made a wimpy attempt to get it above that. And they pushed it again. They keep pushing. That's typical communists are like that. That's how they take over entire countries. They just push and cheat on the elections and use special types of polling machines, all kinds of stuff till and then they kill the people who oppose them. They eventually take over the entire country. That's what's happened in America now. So look at this. So I wrote in there, and I stated live that a weak attempt to push above the top. that the market should sink back lower again. Clunk. So there it goes, sinking back lower. But like any good communist regime, they come in here, the control grid, and they just herky-jerk it back up above this red line. This is a really key line. So they got hammered as forecast by me yesterday, and we traded this stuff too. We had two winning trades, one for plus 15, one at plus 14, and I just stopped there with, like I said, a $2,300 day. Because I can see the manipulations, and I don't want to subject us to, a bunch of garbage. It'll be over tomorrow after they put out this new fake doctored inflation report. See, I say all this stuff very nonchalantly because it's been going on for decades, and I don't really care. I just want to be able to trade, but if they're doing today like they did essentially yesterday, which they are, only today's worse, then it's hard to trade. You can't get setups that are really good. That last one, yeah, went to 70, I know, but it was risky. That's why I just ran as a test. I gave you 2 test trades today, and both were successful and did exactly what I said. We'll get a live one, I hope, soon. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down 140 after failed bounce attempt, so there was the proof in the close. The market riggers will keep trying to artificially push the market up, either by doctoring some of the reports the next 3 sessions to quote, show inflation not as bad as expected. I mean, that's the headline that I gave the night before. The next morning, after the fake report came out, all the headlines said, well, the inflation report shows not as bad as expected, or some other BS, as I say here. They'll keep trying to push the market back up, but here's what I put in bold. They will keep trying to push the market back up, but the destiny of the market should be, according to Markets 101, should be to revisit the lows on that thick yellow dash line I showed you Monday, which I'll show you again now. So that's what I wrote. I wrote the headline and the scam that they were going to pull the night before, and that's all you saw today and yesterday. Well, today, because this goes out last night for today, is I'm just doing this because the market is completely stagnant thanks to the riggers, thanks to the control group. It's disgusting. Look, I'm not making this up. I just showed you what I wrote, and I said, here's what they're going to write and tell you. So here's the top headline report. Wholesale inflation measure rose 0.1% in July, less than expected. Wow. So that's a reason to jam the Dow up 200 points, which it was earlier. And I know it fizzled out, but still, look, they got them forced back up to 123. It's all political narrative. They're trying to pretend that the market's trying to recover. Remember, they got hammered for 2,600 points, and so far, they've only recovered 600-700 points. That's not a recovery. A recovery would have already gotten back half that at least. Just so you know. I'm just giving you technical analysis because there's nothing to do. This is I want to show you. So there was the headline that I told you they were going to have, and it's a doctored fake report, but they're saying, so inflation's less than expected. That's not bullish. That's neutral at best. But these people with an agenda see it that way. Anyway, I'm just over talking about this, but trying to help you understand how we run the room. So here they go again. This was after yesterday, after they got slaughtered. They came in, herky-jerked it around, then eventually gathered their wits and shot off a bazooka show and pushed and pushed, kept it going. This red line is really key now. I'm going to show you some stuff. Now, I'm going to have to scrunch up the chart. Don't mind. You'll see a lot of lines and stuff. Holding under this should keep the market bearish. Now, here's today. Here's opening range way up here. So you can see similar to yesterday, but look at this bazooka show here. What I call a bazooka show. Two of them back to back. Just where are the regulators? Who's behind these orders? Why are these markets going from flat to choppy to shooting through the moon? You see? That's fine. I already know who the regulators are. BlackRock, who controls the Fed, and they control the regulators. Now, good old Fraud Rock, along with the Fed, have bankrupted the Federal Reserve and America. In 2023, America went bankrupt. They're done. All this money printing, this wild spree of money printing right now is like, well, it's dead. We might as well just rape it for as much money as we can, print as much we can, get our communist candidates back in there, and force it higher and get them in and destroy America more. I'm not being political, I'm just telling you what they're doing. That's their plan. So here's part of their plan. Hyperjack this up, pretend that everything's recovering, and they're just doing the exact same thing they're doing yesterday. They're making a weak attempt, and this is good for a possible trade, making a weak attempt to pop the market up above the top of the opening range. This is exactly what they did yesterday. And then, all of a sudden, look out below. Now, I got a sell signal coming in here. We're going to take this one and see what happens. Hopefully, they'll give me a little rebound here. I need to short them, but I want to short them at 87. And I think I just missed 87 right before I gave you that number. It's currently 84. If we can get a bounce up above 84, I'll take the short. So stay ready. And it's going to be a risky trade because they're going to still keep pushing, most likely. Trying to get them above 81 now to short. They should be able to get them up there, and then they should be able to slam them down towards 65. Let's see if we can get them up. There's 81. Okay, so we're short now, officially at 81. We may get stopped out because they don't like the fact that this is a short setup here. So 81, and I'm looking for a move down to 65. If this is going to be anywhere, any semblance of reality, they'll pop them out under 70 and nail them down to 65. There it is. There's 65. 65, 66, cover them up. I know the low was 67, but you get the idea. I said they're still going a little lower, but I'm saying when they drop like that, they got crunched. I said 65, which was my estimate, and they went 65 half. So you're going to definitely close them out on that smash down to 65 half there. I said 65, but I can't give you the exact number. So what we do is when I say 65, what that means in day traders action language, that means 66 or lower. You surround that number with a point because we're scalpers, and you say 60. Now, you saw me go.
Order
I waited
filled.
patiently because I had a number to short them, which was 81. Exact number. They popped them up to 81 right here. I think they overran it just a little bit, and then they got slammed. Let me open this up. Sorry about that. We got a trade on. We got a successful trade. Thank God for that. Here it was. I said 81, I want to short them, and I want to get them out at 65, which means 66 or lower, 67. It's up to you. Just scalp them out when they take. So here we go. 81 short was official price. I gave you the exact number. It's like a limit order. And then 81 came down to my forecast, 65 half, I think, was the low, or 65.75. Either way, the idea was to get them out at 66 or lower, even 67 or lower on a fast move like this, because as soon as they went there, here comes the control grid trying to whip them back up, it's don't get excited when my trades scalp hard. Get out and leave them alone. Yeah, they're going lower here, but she had to go through a move all the way almost back to our entry, and they slammed them again. And that's just the whipsaw nature. So we were fortunate that I waited and waited, got a chance to do all that analysis for you, and then we got a trade on, which was great. So 81 short. Now what I want you to do is write these trades down. 81 with an arrow pointing down next to it. Create, like if you have a yellow pad type thing, those are the best thing if you can get one at the grocery tomorrow or tonight. And just make a line. Use 2 lines for the trade. All you need is the last 4 digits. 81 short, covering 60. I'll use 66 because, like I said, I said 65 was the estimate on the initial blast, and that ended up producing. Let's see what we got here. 81 minus 66 plus 15 points. Now that alone is a nice gain for the day. I usually like to get 1 or 2 or 3 of these if we can, but they're not trading, and now that they finally, and I estimated now they should be able to actually take a hit rather than the endless games that they've been playing. As you see, dangerous stuff. So easy to get suckered into a long or a short in the midst of all this, especially this one. Like, it'll take off and people think, okay, I'm going to get short here. I'm going to join the downside, get short here. I didn't suggest that, but I'm saying some would have thought that. And look, just whipsaw their brains right out. The control grid riggers come in and just whipsaw their brains out, punish them for trying to go short. But I detected in here that this had the potential for a real trade on the downside that we could nail some points out of. And it was, fortunately, like I said, 81 short here, kablamo, and I estimated 65. They went to 65, I think 75 or half. Whipped them back up to 78, 80, or 79 to 80, and re-slammed them down to 56. And now the control grid riggers, I call them, they don't like it going down. They want this thing up. And they'll probably stage some kind of phony bazooka show later. But what is this? What is the definition of this right here? It's a quiz, but it's not a real super technical. It's called highly, extremely dangerous whipsaw, because the control grid is fighting the sell side from coming in. Now, I know it's not fair, and you can get angry if you want, but we just trade it because we don't really care. These idiots have been around a long time. They're just out of control now because they're introducing these new control grid candidates, which are just disgustingly communist. The VP pick, Kamala Harris doesn't pick anything. Obama's picking everything. Picks that guy to run for, just wants all men's bathrooms to have a tampon machine in them. This is how sick these people are. And I'm just being honest with you. If you don't think that's sick, then you probably don't belong in the Day Traders Action room, because we're basically a room that likes America, believes in America, and hates all this woke stuff and all this other crap. We don't think it's good. It's not good for the country. So I'm just saying, you know, it's very important. I'd prefer, if you think that way, to wake up and snap out of it. Tampons machines in the men's bathrooms nationwide? What? You see what I mean? Anyway, this was similar to our first trade yesterday, where, like I said, they just made a very weak attempt to pop over the top of the opening range. And if you don't think Obama picks these people in that Scamala's picking these. You just don't get it. And we'll try to help you. But our purpose is here to make money. But I make money because of the things I know and how I identify the control grid. And that's what told me this trade should get them down to 65 on that initial thrust. The rest I don't care. I know they went to 56. But I just want my initial thrust, which was 81, to crunch them down to 65. Beyond that, I don't care. Here's why. This is the fun part of every day, and this is mostly what we do, but I do have to talk about the control grids and the freak show going on now because we have to trade this crap, you know? And today they're making them untradeable market. Does that make you happy that a secret control, they're not even that secret, but a secret control group made up of woke communists thinks that they want to push the market higher and higher, and they want to block the market from trading on the sell side? Is that good? Is that the right thing to do? Is that America? No. But here's the great part. Here's America, the day traders action room. 15 points times 20 bucks. 20 bucks per contract for the NASDAQ. That's $300 per contract. So first of all, I want you to write that down. I'll show you how we generate our daily track record. $300 per contract. One trade, we use $5 all in round turn. So put $5 under that with a C around it. It means a commission for your broker. It's a little bit higher than commissions are now, but I'd rather be a little higher than a little lower. Now, if for some reason we got buried in a drawdown, and I had to trade and make a lot of trades to get it all back, because we keep trading when we have a drawdown. We don't go crybaby and start throwing our pen down and whining. We keep trading. 99% of the time, well, let's say 90%. It's very rare that we have a drawdown, but if I do, 90% of the time, I can keep trading, get all the money back, and end up with a positive day. So would you rather go home with a 40-point loss or go home with a 20-point gain, even though you had to make 25 trades to do it? Hey, it's a good experience for you to trade a lot with us, but we do that. You need to understand that it's in the briefing. Because we have a drawdown, don't stop trading. The rule is to keep trading. Anyway, so $300 minus $5, so net $295 per contract. So you paid for a whole month's subscription to the room in just one trade. You actually paid for 2 months of subscription in one trade. But here's where we measure. $295 times 4. Based on 4 contracts, you can put times 4 in parentheses, that's $1,180. And that's why we want to get you up to that level. But in the briefing, I described the exact steps to do that. Taking my trades, we're going to partner up here. I'm going to give you the trade signals, you're going to execute the trade signals. And then when you get up to, on one contract, you get up to $4,000, then you add a second contract. Now you're trading 2 lots. And the second $4,000 will come ideally twice as fast, because you're now trading 2 lots. Add a third contract, and then same thing, the next 4,000 will come quite as faster at 3 lots. Then you add a 4th contract and stick to 4 lots. Plan on sticking with 4 lots for a long time. Don't get greedy and think, I got to do 10 now. Forget it. We have people that do that, but they've been trading big size like that for a long time. And I give guidance on that. Not much, though. We're just saying, get to 4 contracts with the goal of making $200,000 a year following my signals. Now keep in mind too, oh, but I have my other ideas and others. Congratulations, that's good. But come in my room for the first hour, like today. It's less than an hour, it's only been 40 minutes. make $1,180 paycheck, and when I tell you we're done, then you say, okay, we're done. Then what? We close the room, we're in the first hour or two, and go off and work on your other systems, your other stuff. But you got a $1,200 paycheck in your pocket. And yesterday you had a $2,280 paycheck in your pocket. Day before that, you had a $400 paycheck in your pocket. Now was a day where we had a drawdown, and it was kind of rough. I was down about 40, 60 points, and I closed up 10. I got back 80 points. I got back 80 points, and we ended up making $400. See, I'm thoroughly honest. I don't need to bullshit anybody. Our room is about reality-based trading. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Otherwise, my room would be $500 a month, which easily could be warranted. But I keep it at the same price I have for years, only $149 a month. Consider our room, this is what I want you to do. I'm serious. As a utility, just like your electric bill or whatever. You're paying that bill, it's $150 a month or whatever you're paying, but you got your computers running, your TVs, this, that. You don't go on vacation and, well, I'm going to shut off my electrical bill for 2 weeks. That's moronic. All your systems will go down. You're going to have to reboot it. When you come back, you're going to have a whole day project of rebooting and configuring your Wi-Fi. That's not what you do. Leave it on. So the difference between us and all your other utilities, water, gas, electricity, they're going to go up in price. You have to pay them. You pay the day trader's action fixed $149 a month utility bill, and our bill makes you money. Currently, as of yesterday, well, we got the math for today if we want to add it on there. We may not trade anymore today. This is BS what they're doing. They're just forcing the market up, blocking the sell side, and creating problems. So I may stop, but I just want you to know that as of yesterday, for the last 7, how many days we had this month? 1, you should know this. 2, especially if you're new. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions. Today's the 8th session. As of yesterday, we're up for the month, based on our 4 contract model, $16,220. $16,220 plus today's $1,180. We're up $17,400 for the month. And how much did you pay again? How much is your monthly utility bill to be a member of the Day Traders Action Room? That's right, $149. So if I take $17,400, when you're up to 4 contracts, that's what it's going to look like. As you're starting out and you're growing it, it's going to take a little while to get you up there. But you'll learn a lot and you'll have a lot of fun doing it. Maybe a couple little heart jolts on the way, but you'll get through it. Welcome to the wonderful world of futures trading. 17,400 divided by 149. So far in 8 days of trading, you've paid for, if you're 4 contract trade, you've paid for 116 months in the Day Traders Action Room in the last 8 sessions. 116 months. 116 months divided by 12. I mean, it's ridiculous. I know my room is ridiculously inexpensive, but there's a reason for that, and I'm telling it to you right now. View me as a utility. Always stay in the Day Traders Action Room, whether you use it once a month. We trade 16 days a week. I'm going to be here and show up, and we're going to make you money. We're the only utility out there that pays you 10 times the cost of the monthly bill for the utility. Ours is actually more like 50. You see what I'm saying? View me as a utility. Just let the PayPal auto pay run. Keep paying your bill, and if you want to go on vacation, have a great time. But don't forget the guy who made you $17,400 to go on the vacation and then cancel the subscription. Well, I'm not going to be using it because I'm going on vacation. You know what? I'm not going to let you back in. If you play games like that and treat me like a vendor, there'll be special conditions for getting back in, but it's not going to be that you just come back and sign up for $149 a month. And I'm not asking you to send me half your earnings or any games like that. We just say $149 a month, but I'm requesting you to wake up and understand the gift that you're being given by trading with me. I'm giving you a tremendous gift here. Anyway, just trying to let you know. Make it easy for me so I can make it easy for all of us. See, the harder it is, and I have to screw around with, oh, so-and-so canceled, oh, now he's coming back, oh, this, that. That's all bullshit work for me that I don't need. I can't concentrate on the business as well if I have to fool around with this constant people who are confused, you know. But realize the gift. You're paying to have a 33-year trading professional. You're a trading professional. I'm not 33 years old anymore, but I've been trading 33 years. So I'm just trying to make a case. Leave it alone so I can just come to work and make you money. And there's the bazooka show I told you was coming. Remember that? You heard me crystal clear, right? I said, these idiots are going to launch it. They're screwing up the market, getting it all choppy and weird. And here it is all choppy, like if you don't look at that side of the screen. This was going on while I was talking. And I knew they were going to launch a bazooka show, but I'm not so gung-ho today to get in here and go along with these scammers, you know. There's always trades all day long. But I'm not into the mood to trade, make it a risky day here. And then as forecast, just above this gray line, they just, out of nowhere, unless you're in the club, and we can catch these trades, but all of a sudden, and we do all the time, they just, okay, all systems go, launch a bazooka show, boom, 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 boom. So right from here, when it got launched at this gray line, 901, and at the peak of here, 952. One fell swoop, they jacked it up at least 45 points. They stalled a little bit here and pushed it higher. One fell swoop on a bazooka show from 901 to 948, 946. And how long did it take? 744.40. 740. It took 4 minutes, and they hyper-jacked it up 46 points. Do you see what I mean? Oh, but the sell side, oh, we can't get anything going on the sell side. You get a trend going down, I can trade 3-4 times on the sell side. This crap just goes straight up, and then now they've got it hyper-jacked up to a new level, you see? It's really, I'm just showing you the proof, what I'm saying. It's really disgusting what these people are up to. Now I'm going to just start by drawing a line up here. And I'll make it a dotted line. I expect they'll continue to jam that up further because of who they are. They're riggers. They want the market up higher, and they don't care. And they're the regulators too, so they don't have to worry about regulators coming in saying, who's behind these orders? which would be a normal question. Who's behind these orders? Every ticket, if they even have to fill out tickets, because I believe they go in on the dark pool on the composite end. They have dark pools. Means they don't have, there's no reporting. We can't see the orders. Maybe them and only a few other people. No, oh yeah, it's BlackRock. Here they come. So anyway, and again, they're not trading a mini NASDAQ. This is a reflection of what's being done, I believe, by the riggers over on the composite index here. Anyway, so we have a $1,180 day. I don't like this market. I don't like, it's unfair the way they're forcing this thing around. And yes, I could have caught the buy-sided trade. I see it happening. I see where it would have got in. I can give you those estimates, but you go, well, why didn't we do it then? I really was, it was more important to explain to you the stuff I was explaining. We already made a trade. I was glad we got one trade off. And, you know, I'm not going to hold for 50 points or 40 points anyway. Ultimately, nobody knows how big the bazooka show is going to be. And the truth is, we've seen a couple of bazooka launches fail here, where the rockets sputtered out. I mean, so they're not perfect at rigging, and they have forces that they're having to deal with, but they're trying to override those. And now they got their Dow up 177 again after having it up there this morning. See how they keep pushing and pushing and stopping out all the shorts, and it becomes a very dangerous market. Tomorrow they're going to have some other goofy inflation report. We'll probably get a similar day. But I wanted to show you before, we may take off early today. I just want you to know. I'm not impressed with this stuff. This is fraud, criminal fraud. It's like a crime scene watching this. And it's just because of the inflation stuff. They're trying to have a narrative to recover 2,600 Dow points that they lost this month. I've already explained to you. And they've only recovered, I can give you the exact numbers here because I keep records of this every day. 683 plus double check that number. 57. That's 740, and then yesterday, Monday, the market closed down minus 140. 600 points, exactly. So for all the hoopla, 2006, let me check that number again, too here. $2,082 points accumulated, and then there was one Thursday the 1st through the 7th. There was 4 loss sessions, and then one 294 gain the day after that $1,000 drop. So I'm just saying, 2,082 is the amount of points to recover, and they've recovered 600 plus whatever changes on the thing today. So that's why they're pushing. They're trying to talk a recovery on the fake news of the TV channels they own and control, but it's just a hoax. And they may get there. They probably will. They'll force it up and keep forcing it. But let me show you this before we go. I want to make sure I show you. Above this red line, they're going to push them up, and you can see them doing that. Below this red line, the market sinks and keeps sinking. And you can see They were struggling to get it back above this earlier and yesterday. So when they came in on Globex, which is always where they can go on Globex, nobody's going to be able to fight them as much. And look at this, just hyper jacked. 707 to 814. One big bazooka show on NASDAQ. Look at the NAS points. 706 to 806 points. 2342. Oh my God, look at this. 100, I mean, I'm just kind of noticing this now. 2342 in the morning, military hours. 2347 to 2357. I mean, I know it's shocking. 1 minute, 100 NASDAQ points in a bazooka done in the middle of the night on Globex. 1 minute, 106 NASDAQ point. Just goose to the moon. That is a crime. Who's behind those orders? See, they have no regulators to watch them. And then look how it gave it all back. See, this is what's bothering them, is that the underlying of the market really wants to move lower. It keeps giving them back. So they keep forcing it higher. I'm only giving this narrative today is because it's what's required. There's nothing to trade. I'm not very comfortable trading. I was on that one trade we did and I waited for that forever. But do you see? They gave this whole fraud show, which was goosed up from here at 650 level. They gave the whole thing back. And they can't stand that. Markets 101 says this thing needs to go and revisit those lows of this month so far. So here's what that is. It's way down there. So they're going to have to trade back under the red line, blow out this thicker orange line, this purple magenta, or this magenta colored line, and then work their way down into this, what I'm calling the purple zone down here. And this first yellow line, don't mind all these lines, they all disappear when I open up the charts. This is going to be the first level of support when they drop them back down again. The riggers are going to fight with all they got to keep that yellow line holding up, because the real bottom, and I've got to add a little extra day here to the data series. See this yellow line here, and this off purple colored line was a big thing, but the real blaster, what happened here? I think I need to add a little more. You know, we're moving ahead in the months, got to add a little more. We're going to trade more active, I hope, tomorrow. But I'm trying to protect us. I'm happy to trade, but I'm not happy to get ripped off. You know, and luckily that trade, I detected that this one should be able to give us that punch down to 65. Okay, here we go. This yellow line, and here's where they bottomed. I know it looks like this is a big bottom here. Come on. There it is. So the big slammeroo day, I think this occurred on Tuesday the 6th, 5th. Oh, yeah, here's the 5th. It was on the 5th. But this was after they blasted the market down on Monday. So this is all in the Globex time. this thick yellow line. I believe the markets need to go back and revisit this, at least this dotted yellow line up here. This is the crucial area, but I think they have to go back and visit this. That's just Markets 101, but you can see now, and this validates what I'm saying, these control grid riggers, the Fed and Fraud Rock. Fed is like a minor mouthpiece. They just go on and have their dumb meetings every 6 weeks and play with people's brains, and they're all betting on the gambling things. It's so ridiculous. Will they lower interest rates or won't they? Who cares? They've already bankrupted America and their own company. Oh, look, there's another bazooka show. So let me move this back to we'll change it if we have to revisit that line, but I like to keep less load on the charts as possible. Look at this. So while we were away doing our analysis, let's see what really happened here. Yeah, this was the jolt up here. I put this dotted line on here just to remind us. And of course, they're trying to jolt it beyond that yellow dotted line now, which I kind of expected they would. And they're just desperately trying to get an up $200 day, because why? Little quiz for you. Why? Because the inflation report wasn't as bad as expected, which I wrote last night. Gee, what a coincidence. That's a reason for the market to have a huge rally, because inflation wasn't as bad as expected. Tell the people who are paying 50% more for all their groceries that you should celebrate. Everything's improving. No, it ain't. It ain't improving here. I just fill up my gas tank, costs $80. Stuff like that, you know. Anyway, so I would have loved to have been more active trading today, but I just really didn't like what I was seeing. And my job is to protect us and hang on to our gains, and we added a gain. I said I'm going to get a trade here. It worked out perfect. It happened pretty quick. There was no pressure on our entry. And we got $1,180. And I advertise, average in the room 800 to 2,000 a day. And I could put on there plus, but I just put 800 to 2,000. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. And we have a very strict rule that only futures traders, experienced futures traders, can join our room. And we're going to have $4,700 days. We're going to have another $3,000 day. All that's coming when the market starts cooperating. Yesterday was 2,280. On the 4th, I'm repeating this, 3,220. 3 winning trades in a row, 3,220. I really didn't think they would act this fraudulent today. They're really acting fraudulent. They're hyperjacking. They're blocking the drops. Usually if this thing will continue, which normally this would have, I can go in and catch 2 or 3 or 4 trades from the sell side. And same with but not from the buy side, because when they hyperjack it, it's gone. There's no pullbacks in here. They're just straight up. And they did it again. I'm going to move this up here. Anyway, I know it's been the first hour and the market's open for how long? 8, 9, 10, 11, 5 more hours, and there will be other stuff in there. But you have to look at the level of criminality of what they're doing. And I just don't see that there's such a smooth flow in all this. Although I can catch all these moves, I just didn't feel like it today. But tomorrow will be better. I think they're going to Let's see what that goofy report's called. Hold on a second here. Where's the darn filter? Ah, there it is. Well, unfortunately, this filter I'm using this Investors Business Daily site is, for some reason, it's not as clear. I don't know why they. Anyway, I can go into it without all this. Anyway, I'm just excuse the other countries on there. This filter is really weird. It's not a simple thing. So here's the economic calendar, and the report that everybody's talking about for tomorrow, on the 14th, is mortgage apps CPI. It's a pre-market. It's an hour and a half before we open the room. This will go off here. The CPI report, and that's one that everybody's making a big deal about. CPI report, and if I go here and click on this, they'll give a consensus and they'll have all these percentages, and then they'll go in and doctor the report. Fraud Rock or one of their departments will go in and doctor the report and get it to be like today. Not as bad as we thought based on, et cetera, the projections. And in fact, I think these are all the projections here. I'm not going to get into all that. I don't care about it, but I'm just saying it'll probably be more of the same tomorrow, and then they'll blow up the market further and claim the recovery's rolling along. No, it isn't. You lost 2,100 Dow points in the beginning of the month, and you haven't even recovered half of that. So, pardon me for being a cynic, but I'm just here to make us as safe as possible. And let's see if tomorrow's a little better. They get all their upside jamming out of their system today. I'm going to take off now. We're going to leave early today. We had one trade. We had a good day. I mean, if I had traded 5 hours and we ended up at 1,180, it'd still be a very good day. And there's more to it, and we will get more tomorrow. So I'm going to take off now. I sure look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And we will go ahead and see if we can be a little more aggressive. But if they just do the same thing where they jack it up, stagnate it, notice, all that upside, but we don't get any reversals. See, I'm detecting this. I don't know if you understand this or can see it. To me, this spells danger. They're jacking it to the moon, but no pullbacks allowed Oh, jack it up again. Oh, no pullbacks. A little bit from the highs, but if you pick off the highs, sure, but that's not what I'm talking about. There's no flow in this. We were fortunate that I was able to detect that this one should have given us that move to 65 we got. But these other ones, no, there's a crapshoot. And then they go back to choppy, force it up. So I saw a little bit of divergence in about 3 or 4 other things in this that allowed me to take this trade. Felt comfortable taking it. Where are you going to buy this stuff? These are all getting stopped out on both sides. Same thing here, jack it up again. And then, you'd have to be practically a perfect trader and short 88 and get them down to, just a little bit here. Anyway, but you can see overall what the picture is. It's a fraudulent operation. They're not allowing pullbacks. And they're out to try to gun down the shorts on purpose. They like, get out of our way. They are. That's what they're doing. And then you always have to ask the question, how come earlier there was no problem in getting smooth downside flow? What happened? They already had jacked them up. Look at this. Insanity. Right into the last minute of the close, they're jacking them up. Market closing, they're still pushing. It's all about narrative for the new fake Obama-appointed communist candidates. They're trying to run as, quote, president and vice president. So I'm just letting you know, these are my exact thoughts. If I was just trading on my own today, I'd be doing the same thing. I wouldn't feel comfortable with this. So we're going to let them go here and look for a better day tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better. Maybe I can trade, but you got to ask yourself too, if you're a regular trader in the NASDAQ, what happened underlined about 10 times to all that hyper high-speed crazy crap, which characterized the first 6-7 days a month. It wasn't just because they were dropping. It just all of a sudden stopped yesterday. And they were trading very moderately. And stopping right now makes sense anyway, because, by the way, for new members especially, look at the volume meter. If they're under this yellow line, becomes a very high caution. If they go halfway down towards 500 contracts, it's a dead market. So the riggers have successfully jammed the market up, and now they've turned it into a dead market, which helps their case of trying to force the prices up. Anyway, so I'm glad you got to listen to our tutorial on this today. And we wish you a wonderful rest of the day. I'm going to take off for now. And don't worry, we'll get some more trades tomorrow. We had a good day. And thank you all very much. And we'll see you in the action tomorrow. Oh, Claude, you're asking, what is that red line? We talk about this every day. This is the opening range. And I talked about it earlier this morning. This is the opening range. The two white lines are the high of the opening range and the low. And the red dashed dotted thick line is the center of the opening range. We watch this every day. It's a very routine thing that we do. And as long as the riggers can push the market above the top of the opening range, they can gather more buyers and force it higher easier. So they're always aspiring every day to try to jack the market up above the opening range. And you can see, I'm answering Claude's question, you can see that today they, by force, are trying to force it above the top of the opening range and try to prevent it from dropping back. Because when they first forced it up there when the opening range was put in, it dropped back a little, but all day this crap's been going on. That's why I'm not trading much today. We just made the one trade. Look, And this is to be expected. They're just forcing it up above the top of the opening range. Keep your eye on the top of the opening range here. Normally, when they come from the top, because they can't really get going and they drop into the opening range, they'll work their way down to the center and usually make a decision. And that decision is very frequently to move back towards the bottom of the opening range. But nope, not for these criminals. They're going to keep forcing it up. Oh, it dropped into the opening range, dropped back. This was, I believe, the trade that we caught. Yep, 81.65. That was the trade for our day today. They finally let it back into the opening range, and all the other things I looked at, about 7, 8 different things, I said, I'm going to take this trade. And lucky we did, because we have, the $1,200 to show for today. And all this stuff, yeah, I know, I can buy them and all that, but I just was observing, and I said, they're going to light a bazooka up. And boy, this thing went, like I said, went up 50 points in about 2 minutes. Just complete fraud. But they can't let it drop back under the top of the opening range to the center or lower. But boy, they can shoot the thing up 50 points in 2 minutes. You see what I mean? I'm just trying to help you understand the level of criminality that's going on today. It's not just a question of, join the criminals and jam it up. You can think that way if you want, but I don't think that way. We take big, long trades all the time when the market's in some kind of flow. But look, ever since this routine or hoax or stunt, whatever you want to call it, and then they did another little one, and now they're just stagnating the market so they can force the Dow up over 200, 240, something like that. But we don't care, because we're done for the day. We had a nice whopper paycheck, so as you go out today, if you go shopping, because I got to go grocery shopping myself, you go out grocery shopping, whatever, you're walking around the grocery store, just picture in your mind, if you take your right hand and point it at the screen, and each finger is a $20 bill, that's 5 20s, right? And lay that on your desk. It's 5 20s. Lay your other hand next to it, a third one and a fourth one. Now look at that, you got 4 piles of 5 20s on your desk. Well, now do a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, and an eighth. Now you got $800. You got 8 piles of 5 fanned out 20s in your desk. Depending on the size of your desk, it's practically paper, what do they call it? Wallpapering your whole desk. Well, let's do some more. 8, 1, 2, 3 more, $1,100 a pile. You got 11 piles of 5 fanned out 20s on your desk. Look at all that money. Now pull out 4 more 20s from your pocket or wherever in your mind and throw that on the top of it. You see what I'm doing here? I'm helping you to get what's called neuro-linguistic programming, help you understand what your mind will miss until you teach it how to think. $1,180. It's not just a few digits on your ink or on your, it's real money. Translate it into real money. Look at all that money. So as you're walking around the grocery store, you're thinking, wow, I could buy $1,000 worth of groceries, which you certainly don't need that much unless you're having a big party. And it's, it puts a real hop and skip in your walk. Then you consider that yesterday we made $2,280, double that, right? So we're going to have a big day tomorrow too. Hopefully the fraud and the cheating will not be as extreme, and I'll be able to go ahead and trade more. But if it's going to act like this, they're going to do this same, look at this chart pattern, they're going to do this same crap. They're forcing us to, they're trying to kill the sellers. That's why they do. They jack it up, destroy any sellers that were left in here trying to hold short, stagnate, force it up, stagnate, and then just gradually. Remember I said 240 on the Dow? See, now they can force it up with the NASDAQ and then drag the Dow up higher. And before we go, I know I got sidetracked, but it was good. Claude had that excellent question about the opening range. But I want to show you this just as we're going, just in case. Let's see if there's a new CNBC headline. Nope, same one. It's actually a double one. So they came back in. They've had this one earlier. Oh, quote, less than expected. That doesn't mean inflation's over. That's not a reason for a big market rally. But they added a new one. Stocks rise as the first of the two major inflation reports this week comes in doctored to be light. Strange people, I'm telling you. And they're going to doctor tomorrow's too, and it'll be the same story. Oh, another inflation report, but lighter than expected. Dow up 340 points. Yeah, recovery. No, that's just getting barely to the point of recovering 50% of the month's losses. That's it. Just keep that in mind as you think about the markets today. And we're going to have a great rest of the day. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the action tomorrow. And thanks so much for joining with us today and listening to my tutorial about what's going on. It kept me from over trading or getting involved in this. I probably wouldn't have anyway, but it really prevented me by explaining it, because then I could see the game that they're pulling, the stunt that they're pulling to try to force Obama's new communist candidates into America and just completely destroy America. But they've done it at the border and the child trafficking and the fentanyl and everything. All the news covers that up. They just say, oh, lighter inflation report. They don't say fentanyl killing more Americans in World War II or anything like that. They don't tell us the truth. We have to fight. And these criminals are going to just goofily lift up the market, put a lollipop in everybody's mouth, say, don't worry, everything's great. So we have to be a little smarter than them to trade these things. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll sure look forward to seeing you. And thank you, Brendan. And we'll look forward to seeing all of you. Mick and Claude, great to see you. Thanks so much for everything, and see you in the action tomorrow.